Hi, welcome to Fashionphile's New York Flash Trip in New York City. I'm Sophia Lee, your host for Responsible Fashion, Designing for Resale, presented by CFDA and Fashionphile. I want to talk about what are some of fashion's biggest challenges right now and how can tech easily solve it? Rabecca, let's start with you.
That's a great question. I think the fashion industry is just moving at an incredible pace as well as technology. So trying to keep up with the trends in technology to serve the customers what they want, when they want, how they want it has been incredibly challenging to keep up and differentiate in the market.
Natasha, what are you seeing from your side?
I think, we're at a very exciting time, echo the sentiment. And as an industry, we produce hundreds of millions of products every single year. And a lot of those products are produced and wasted and not sort of stewarded through sustainable and circular life cycles. And I think we have an incredible opportunity to use technology to make products that are assets and digitally identify them and steward them through more valuable, profitable, intelligent, traceable, and sustainable life cycles. So that's my niche and my ambition.
Yeah, we're going to get into that niche in just a little bit. Nancy, what are some of fashion's biggest challenges that can be easily solved with tech?
Yeah, echoing what they say, I think there's three major challenges, and that is infrastructure in general. Like, how do we make it easy to create logistics that support not just the building of product, but the after-sales experience, which takes us into the second big thing, which is that after sales is very silent. There's no real work being done and supported through bringing you to the register. But beyond that, brands are spending billions of dollars to get their customer to the register, and they're spending that money just to lose them after the sale. So there's this opportunity after sale with tech to support more data going back to brands. And then the third piece is fit. Clothes are mass produced, bodies are not. It's not something that can be solved through just the manufacturing, but through tech understanding consumer needs from the lens of fit. So you look at 30% of all returns are apparel, 70% of those are due to fit issues. There's a lot of opportunity in the industry to support tech with tech for fit.
Yes. And I want to just go back a little bit because in the past decade, a lot has happened in the fashion space with tech. So what are some of the most scalable solutions that we've seen that tech has enabled just in the past decade?
I think some of the virtual try-on, it's been out there a long time, but as you get more ability to do virtual try-on, as you can do image recognition, I think those of past years have been really interesting as it shaped our journey to understand what fashion looks for us, as well as fashion digital and in the metaverse as well, has been interesting.
Yeah. Thoughts, Nancy?
So as hard as it is to say, I think that the logistics of the Amazons and the Sheins of the world have exponentially supported convenience and accessibility for fashion. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing is determined. I think we all know what we think. But in terms of logistics, how can we learn how quickly they react to demand and use that to support better feedback loops for a more sustainable future?
Yeah. Natasha, any thoughts on?
Yeah, I would just echo that sentiment. I think what's been very interesting is all of the reduction of friction for customers to buy,
Yep.
right? Like every single way that we have reduced that friction to, having an account saved, having one-click buy, now having your app or wallet connected and it's truly instant. And so I think all of that friction makes it, removal of friction makes it very easy for the customer to consume. And I think there's an opportunity now to sort of leverage all of those principles into a circular value chain, which is arguably, to your point, the largest global logistics challenge in the world, right? We have trillions of products and it's all about keeping those products at highest and best use. And so I think what's almost very interesting, the positive note, is the evolution of commerce almost proves that like we have the capabilities to do so. We just haven't done so yet.
Yes, but we're
potentially
close.
Yeah.
And I would say the poor feedback loop of that is the overproduction. The last number I have, which is probably from too long ago, and it's way more, is 400% more than we were 20 years ago. and we have enough product in we have enough product in the world to last 6 lifetimes for the entire planet. And so how do you use technology and support better feedback loops that build opportunities to reduce friction and reduce basket size and increase loyalty and brand growth?
Yes. I think I heard an updated stat on that, which is that there's enough products and clothing on this planet to dress humanity until the end of humanity. Like it was like an infinite
Oh,
number,
that's so fun
which
because
is
that
so much. Yeah.
that 6 lifetimes was not that long ago.
Yes. That's like, in theory. So, Natasha, explain what digital tracking is.
Well, basically, do you mean digital product passport?
Yes, digital product passport, digital tracking.
Yeah. So basically, I'd say the industry, as we know, produces many products. And when we produce those products, we usually ID them from point of production to point of sale with some sort of barcode or RFID tag or something that says this product is an asset. And that makes it possible for brands to treat those products as assets. And I'm sure you deal with this every day in the circular value chain, which is that when products arrive for resale, there is no identity associated to those products. And so basically, in order to do re-commerce, we have to re-identify every product. In order to do repair, we have to re-identify the product to repair it. In order to do recycle, we have to guess what material content a product is made of. So basically, the industry operates in very vertical silos. And what digital product passports do, or this idea of product identity, is they sort of build this horizontal thread that says, hi, I am this product. You can kind of think about it as making a product that talks, right? It can tell you exactly where it came from, who made it, its material content. It can then talk to the resale partner. It can talk to the after sales partner. And then in real time, you're basically able to see the full identity and life cycle of a product and material. And so we at Aeon view the product identity as a vehicle to essentially organize the world's resources and say, in real time, see where products are moving and how to basically allocate them and move them responsibly.
And how does digital product passports build trust with consumers and the brands in a resale market?
So basically, today, it's very challenging to authenticate products. You're manually typing in product data. Like if you want to resell something, I'm sure a lot of people have had this experience, and Fashionphile solves for many of these, but you have to sort of type exactly what the product is. Oh, this is a size 10, and this is Gabriella Hearst. And, you have to enter all that information to re-commerce a product for the most part.
It's very manual labor.
Very manual. And so when we come back to the process of, okay, we have one-click buy, why don't we have one-click resale? How do we automate that process? And that's what the digital product passport can steward. And we've basically worked with brands to make it possible to scan that product so you can authenticate it from an NFC chip or a verifiable QR code, and then upload that product into a resale marketplace so that you could say, okay, now I scan the product and I instantly upload it to Fashionphile. And that reduces the customer friction, that enables authenticity, that brings in real-time traceability. And the reason that Digital Product Passport is becoming a legislative initiative is because it also brings forward accountability. Now, from a regulatory perspective, you can see, oh, wow, okay, only 30% of that brand's products were resold or recycled. And you can build this full legislative scheme as well as business model incentives for brands.
I think that it should be the norm, but apparently it's not.
It's crazy that it's not.
It's not.
It's truly wild.
Do you have any stats on percentages of brands that are opting into DPPs?
Oh my God. We are in the early innings.
Okay,
but
early
what's
stages.
Kind of wild is like by 2028, every single brand that wants to sell a product in the EU will have to have a non-product digital product passport.
Because of policy?
Yeah. So it will go from, small percentages, which it is today, but we're working
less than 10% today.
Oh yes, like 1%.
1%,
truly,
100% in 3 years.
100% of products sold into the EU in 3 years. Yeah.
And if I can add, if you're looking at these as global brands, it's path of least resistance. So any brand that has to be accountable for their after sales in the EU, if they're a global brand, they're going to do it in the US. And you look at SB 707, which is regulation and EPR, extended producer responsibility in California, same idea. You have national brands, what they're selling into California, they're going to have to sell into everybody. In just the last few weeks with SB 707 passing, we've gotten, and I'm sure you're getting this, tons of inbound on, okay, what should we be looking at? How can we support? And we've actually mentioned Eon, but Alternew as a repair category supporting accountability post-sale, but pre-end of use. So how do we focus on that point between when you're buying something and its end of use for you?
That's amazing. In 3 years.
It's great.
Like, it's shifting before our eyes. So, Rabecca, what are some of the other biggest challenges that's facing authenticated luxury resale? And how does Fashionphile approach these challenges?
Yeah, I think the conversation exactly of how do we authenticate, it's a high touch process. So as we think about technology, what can we be doing overall to reduce the time frame of authenticating so that we can pay out our customers? Things AI has shifted all of our ways of working. It's become part of our fabric, and thinking about what future capabilities we have to recognize what the product is, potentially where it's paired with where it's come from, and truly having a better way and a quicker way to get customers what they want. We also said, the Amazons have conditioned us to want things now, any way I want it, anywhere I want it. So as we think about how do we look at those processes, including personalization of what do you want and how can I know what you want before you know what you want to service you, that's a big thing that we're focused on in Fashionphile to work with our luxury customers.
So at Fashionphile, if the product doesn't have a digital product passport, how do you guys authenticate that it's a luxury item?
So we have various, so we have well-trained Fashionphile Academy. So we have well-trained authenticators that are focused on brands to know everything about the brands and the styles. So we have teams that go through that training. We also have some things like digital x-ray machines that can look inside a shoe and know what some of the pieces and parts are to help with the authenticity. And, we've been in business for 26 years, so we have a lot of knowledge, deep knowledge. It is a high-touch process, and that is, as we look at technology, what can we be doing to make it more efficient through the process? And we're known for our trust and our authentic, authenticity process, and continuing that.
Yeah, but how incredible is it that, a team of experts that are highly trained, x-ray machines, like they can all just be alleviated with a single digital product passport, which is exciting by 2028. Nancy, how is retaining a customer after purchase table stakes for brands now? They have to consider it.
I mean, talking before how much brands are spending to get customers to the register, up to $120 a person, and they're losing them after the sale. Because if you look at it, everyone says, okay, we're differentiated by our product, but in a sea of sameness, there have to be more ways that they differentiate. And we talk a lot about storytelling. Fashionphile is very much part of that. Eon, like telling the story from like beginning of life to end of use, right? So care and repair for us, that's so much part of the story to be told. And after sales, looking at brands that offer these, Patagonia, Nordstrom, the highest employer of tailors in the US. There's a reason for that. They've done that from the very beginning because they understand that it's how they treat their customer after the sale that actually is how they come back, right? That's driving repeat business, that's driving reduced returns, that's driving incremental sales. Imagine a customer going in and buying a pair of pants, knowing they can get them tailored, and then buying 2 pairs of pants. So what I like to say, it might be reducing the basket size, but you're increasing your lifetime customer value, which is more valuable than continuously trying to get more customers in the door.
Yeah, that $120 per customer.
And they're going somewhere else, right? Like, so if you're spending $120 to get your customer at the store and everybody else is too, what makes you more special than their $120? Their discounts. So it's everybody's doing the same thing to get customers to the register. So it's those differentiators from being an authenticator and having great resale values, from having a digital product passport and being able to track and storytell your product from, beginning of life to resale, and from being able to get something fit right to you, right? Care and repair. Like, if we say clothes are mass-produced, bodies are not, that means that any brand, anywhere you go, if you can get it tailored or you can get it repaired, it now is yours always.
And what advice would you give to brands who want to embed that repair journey for their customer, but they don't have a brick and mortar store?
Well, that's a very easy solution.
Yeah, tell us.
And tech can solve that,
yes,
specifically
and how can
Alternew.
tech specifically solve that?
Thank you for asking that question. So Alternew is building a platform that connects brands, customers, and tailor shops. So modernizing fashion's care and repair experience, like anything else, how do you reduce friction? So we are optimizing on product, cost, quality, range of services, and turnaround time. So a brand being able to send something to Kansas and be like, we don't have a flagship store with tailoring there, but now you can go to your local tailor and we're getting the data back that we can use for personalization and predictive insights. All of a sudden, you're creating an omni-channel experience that isn't just at your flagship store, but goes through your in-store, your online, and all of your different activations. So you can support that post-purchase journey for your customer and get that after-sales experience back to know fit more effectively. And we talk about that with AI sizing. We talk about that with resale. We talk about that even with brands that have in-house tailoring, being able to take that missing layer and support all of these circular strategies.
Yeah. I am fascinated by how the current economy that we're talking about with fashion, we talk about primary markets and secondary markets, but we really can't talk about it without the circularity in mind. So Natasha, how does Digital Product Passport encourage the market beyond just the secondary market? It encourages a truly circular economy, because we haven't reached a circular economy yet. We're a little bit far away. So how does it encourage it? What are the steps it takes to get there?
Yeah. I think to achieve a circular economy, I believe it also is going to be a fundamental business model shift for the fashion industry in terms of the brand business model as well, right? You now see resale marketplaces obviously stepping up and, of course, stewarding these transactions post-sale. And basically, brands have, like a CFO at a brand has a few financial metrics. They look at their sales, initial sales, they look at their customer lifetime value, but CFOs don't really have this concept, and what we call it is at Aeon is product lifetime value. What is the revenue that a brand can generate through the lifetime of its product? Because if you think about it, when you produce that one product, you should have multiple transactions on that one asset, right? There's the transaction when exactly like a car, right? You only buy a house if you know you can resell it. It has intrinsic value, you're investing. And basically, as we look at sort of these changing and shifts in consumer behavior of what's going to really drive that and shift this whole business model, I think it's going to be the ability to have this way for a business financially to not only produce products that are assets, right, but also increase that product lifetime value. How are they generating revenue on the transaction through third-party channels? How do they then also generate revenue and insights when the product is resold? And so we view the product identity is, it's in systems change, you would call it like a leverage point. It's like this one small thing that we do, which is the product ID, that then stewards all of the connections and transactions of that product in the system that it exists in. And I think it's also very interesting because the product ID allows that system to be responsive. So I buy this product in New York, but then I move to Paris, and now I want to get it repaired in Paris. Well, the digital product passport is dynamic. I scan it, it knows I'm in Paris, here's the repair, resale, transactions, and services near me. So it's all, and then and the brand will earn on each one of those. So it really is about kind of stewarding that transition from product to asset, and I think it's very exciting in the early innings to see that, because we are seeing brands now make money on their products post-sale through the ID. We are seeing them get data. We are seeing them increase customer lifetime value. And, it's almost common sense. Like, how could you possibly solve a logistics challenge without identity? And I think it will be there. I'm an optimist.
Yeah, it's like the DPP
Yeah.
gives it this item, it's like a living, breathing entity. It travels with
100%.
you. It has stories. It has memories.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
Can
just yeah.
I don't know if
Please,
we've actually like grounded in what the circular economy is, and
yeah.
I find that
Explain. Yeah,
yeah.
how would you
So
describe the circular economy?
the easiest way to describe it is the linear economy. The economy that we have today is a make take waste. You make it, you produce it, you take it, you use it, and then you literally throw it away. And it might have maybe one resale, one pass down, but especially the more we have fast fashion and disposable fashion, it ends up in a landfill, which is why you can see clothes from space in landfills in Chile specifically, but all around the world. With circular economy, it's very simple. People are like, "What's a circular economy?" I'm literally like, "It's literally just make, take, reuse, reuse, reuse." How are you closing the loop? How are you continuing to use something and driving value from it, not just once but multiple times, which actually is a business model that that brands have an appetite for, that customers have an appetite for. But to your point, there's so much habit change that needs to be done in understanding where they can drive that value and how they can support different storytelling. And it's no different. Circular economy was something we had only a few generations ago. And so now we're kind of eager for a circular economy. We're eager to tell the stories of the clothes we wear and how we've resold them. And I like to say for us, like, we want influencers to talk not about their fashion haul, but their fashion care. We want it to be cool to find your cobbler and talk about the thing that you had passed down from your grandmother and got it resold another time. So that's really what the circular economy is. And I think it's a really valuable tool to support just a better relationship with the things we wear.
I just don't think it's that radical of an ideology. In nature, there's no wasted resource. If you look at our rainwater, it's billions of years old. Like, a circular economy is just, we should mimic nature.
Just like sustainability. Sustainability is nothing more than sustaining for our future. It is not this like difficult, complex concept.
How do we sustain our resources, our energy, our time? So, Rabecca, what are some of the other biggest challenges and biggest barriers preventing us from a circular economy, and how can tech enable that?
Yeah, I think it's interesting to your point about where products originate. You want to trust your product. So thinking about the whole logistics of it sounds easy to do that process. As you go through it, again, it is very labor intensive. It is a process that takes a lot of understanding, a lot of learning, and also a lot of trust. I think the resale market has grown in popularity because we more and more are trusting and understanding the vision of shop, sell, repeat. But there's a lot, I think, in AI has brought in a whole new wave, and we talk about AI a lot, and that's part of our fabric. It really has brought in ways to think different and to have technology handle part of these processes. Agentic AI, which is now it can do a function for you without some of the prompting. I think too, as we talk about what customers want, we shop different. We have different habits now. So we as consumers have changed. You no longer want to search by a keyword. You want to shop by intent. I am looking for something to go to a gala, and I love this versus I'm looking for this specific thing. So I think one of the challenges is just our behaviors have changed as consumers, and we have to leverage that and then fit technology to solve a problem, not just bring in technology to bring in technology.
Yeah, I think AI and sustainability, sometimes they feel like they could be at odds with each other, but give me some more case studies of how AI is actually empowering the circular economy and the sustainability movement.
Yeah, I think, I had mentioned earlier just image recognition and being able to look at things, being able to predict, where we look in the supply chain of where products are, how to get things out to customer. It really is part of our fabric. And I think, we all use AI in a different way. And while it's not a brand new thing, we've been doing predictive modeling and, logistics and supply chain technology for years. It's putting it together in a different way that customers are really looking for.
What does predictive modeling mean? Like, what does that look like in
Yeah, so understanding what is your customer buying habits, looking at you as a customer, we call it customer 360, really understanding what your preferences are, where you like to shop, how you like to shop, and serving things up to you. And also, if you have brand affinities, if you have things that we want to potentially, if you've bought something from us and it's gone up in value, we want to let you know that things also go up in value as it resells more because of some of the stories behind it.
So having a personalized profile for every customer that comes through. Okay, amazing. So looking ahead, what are some other tech and innovations that we see? Perhaps it's with AI that is going to expedite so we could reach this circular economy. Natasha?
Well, I thought you said something really interesting before, and it's definitely been one of our inspirational principles at Eon, which is designing technology that emulates natural systems. And that's also why I find that this idea of product identity to be quite inspiring, because if you look at the best natural systems, I've been very inspired by biomimicry and all that type of technology in urban planning and design, which was my background. It's all the best systems rely on communication, right? Like if I touch a hot stove, then I instantly am able, my brain tells me that it's hot and I can pull away. That's communication between my finger and my brain, right? And now when we produce products, we as brands, we don't have any communication to the product after we sell it. So there's no connective tissue. And so therefore there's no intelligent system or design. And if that's I don't even know if that was a good analogy, but it's in some way you can kind of see this idea of identity as a connective tissue between the brand and the product. So the economic producer and the asset that they produce and how that's going to allow them to utilize and steward and connect it to all of these different sort of systems that already exist. And I think that's what's interesting too, is that all of these pockets are sort of there. There's just not that communication channel throughout that connects them.
Yeah, that's so fascinating. It would be like having hundreds of trees in forest ecosystem and they wouldn't talk to each other, but they do because of the mycelium network.
Exactly.
But they know when the rain is coming. They know when
Right.
nutrients need to be pumped into a single source. But we're all living in our silos right now. It's just it needs the connective tissue, and that could be tech.
Exactly.
Amazing.
And so that's that sort of we call it, at Eon in our execution, we've tried to sort of build that with something called the Eon Exchange, where we say, okay, the brand's data, and now we permission and connect it to the resale partner, the repair partner, the recycle partner, so that you can actually have that 360 traceability. Because I think that's also what's been very hard about circular economy is once a brand sells a product, it's sort of out in the wild.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not within their value chain. It has to connect to these other aspects of the system because it's moving free,
Yeah. It's on the loose.
It's on the loose. That bag is out there.
Yeah, the bag is out there.
Crazy.
It wants to connect to its mother source. Nancy, what about you? Emerging tech trends that can close this gap?
I think to Natasha's point, it is communication, and there's a lot being done in several industries around and it is a digital product passport. So if I had to say something other than digital product passport or resale or care and repair, I think that part of that gap is around inspiration and storytelling. So I've been really enjoying the better use of styling apps. So I'm using Ulta. There's also a bunch of different ones. There's Arette, Raspberry's Production, but all to say I'm testing out Ulta, and it takes me back to my Clueless days. It is this thing of we want what we imagined as kids, and if that can drive better storytelling, if that can drive better and more conscious and thoughtful consumerism, I think that's a piece of the gap that we're not thinking about. We talk a lot about it needs to be a federal problem. It needs to be a brand problem. But without customer participation, none of this goes anywhere. And so how can we actually drive technology that supports consumers in a way they want to engage with?
I love that. I think that brings me to my last question, where I want to ask you, what personally drives you to engage with a brand, to feel like you have trust with them, to feel like you're a long-term customer? Rabecca?
I love, for me, it's the personalized experience, knowing what I want and being reached out to of, you may like this because you've liked this. It makes, I don't have a lot of time, neither does anybody, as we're all busy. So cutting down that time for me to find what I need and then getting through an easy process of when I need it and where I need it is what helps for me to have an affinity to a brand.
Okay, a seamless experience.
Convenience, seamless, to save time.
Yeah. Yeah. Natasha?
I like that. Recently for me, I mean, it's been more like,
Your shoes.
Yeah, my
Your-
shoes, my orthopedic shoes, love. Comfort, health, wellness.
Functionality.
Yeah, I think, I just want to feel like I'm buying something of value. I feel like so many purchases are so like frivolous and wasteful, and I want to feel like I'm like making an investment in that purchase, or like it's like the right decision. I don't know how
What's
to
the latest
quantify
purchase
that.
that you've
I mean, my
like?
shoes were a late purchase,
Yeah.
my orthopedic shoes, and yeah, like recently I'm very into like material and texture and sort of like feeling things when I buy them and making sure that that's right. Like I want to know that I could have this forever and that
Yeah.
it looks like it's like of the earth and could maybe go back to the earth and is
Yeah.
like a forever kind of thing. I don't know.
And is an asset to your life.
Yes,
Like your orthopedic
exactly.
shoes has helped with your posture.
Exactly.
Okay, Nancy?
I'm in the experiential space. So like
Okay.
being in New York, there is a feast of riches, brands who have in-store experiences or sustainability panels. And it's not just about driving product, it's about driving education. And so I've always really enjoyed that when brands, even, Primark most recently had a mending workshop in their Staten Island store, I believe. But there's all these different ways that brands are connecting with their customers through activations, through personal experiences that are in person, which I'm very keen to do. And then the other piece of that is in terms of experiential, like this jacket with my sisters in college, and she's like, it doesn't really fit me. Do you want to try it? And I was like, yeah, it's good. And these pants, we were in a tech accelerator, ERA, and I wore these on demo day. And every time I wear them, I'm like, these are my demo day pants. Having that experience. And even my Nikes, I went to University of Oregon and, Phil Knight, I have a hat that says Uncle Phil. And I'm always like, oh, my Oregon experience. So I like to have my whole wardrobe tell a story, no matter what it is.
Yeah, your wardrobe is sentimental.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's emotional durability.
Yes, emotional durability.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you everyone so much for having this conversation on how tech innovation is reshaping the circular economy. Thank you so much.